Hey, everybody, and welcome. We are back with another week, another Age of Grogu, and with as always, we have Elijah, Jason, and Max. Hey, guys, how you doing?
What up?
Hey.
Hey, so a relatively quiet news week once again. It was kind of like, nothing big. I got a few little bits and pieces I want to cover, but what about you guys? Anything interesting happen this week?
The Darker Knight came out.
The Darker Knight, the Batman. We all got to see the Batman.
Vengeance.
So we actually will be doing in the later half of this episode a complete spoiler review. So if you have not seen it, hang with us until that point, and then welcome to come back and watch what we thought of the Batman. But we'll be doing that a little later on in the episode for sure. We all definitely haven't even had the chance to sit down and talk about any of it yet. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys think of it. Any other news? Anything interesting that piqued your interest this week, guys?
I saw Studio 666.
Oh yeah,
Foo Fighters movie.
Okay. Oh yeah. How was that? How was
it?
I really liked it. I thought it was a lot of fun.
So what is that exactly?
It's a horror comedy.
Okay.
It's a horror comedy movie. I mean, in the realm of like an Evil Dead or like one of the cheesy comedy horror movies from the 80s.
Right.
John Carpenter's in it. John Carpenter does some of the music in it.
Oh wow!
But it's just a funny story of the Foo Fighters renting out a old house to record an album in. And they start recording an album, and then stuff. There's demonic possessions, and the house has like evil spirits, and it just gets crazy. It's really funny.
Okay.
And if anyone that's into music or was ever in a band, there's lots of band jokes that are just 4 or 5 guys in a band and the way that they argue and that type of stuff is in it.
Pat Smear gets a lot of screen time too, huh?
Pat Smear and Pat Smear really brings it. That's one thing I wanted to point out is say that he's got some of the best parts in the movie. They even make callbacks to I'm going blank on the name of now. The old school punk rock movie documentary.
I heard they came up with this movie because of COVID, and they had to cancel a bunch of tours, and they were trying to write an album, and they just it just kept sounding like everything they've been doing. So Dave Grohl decided to make a movie. Is that how?
I think something.
That's what I heard. I heard like an interview with him on NPR talking about it.
I think
I
heard
wasn't
something
with him, but it was like a review or something.
I thought he was saying where he was just kind of like, wouldn't it be great if we just had like a old made a horror comedy movie, and he just roughly gave the pitch of the movie. They're like, wait a minute, that's a really good idea, let's do it, and they just ended up doing it. Well, you can tell it's cheap. It's
Foo Fighters bangled the whole thing.
But you can tell it's cheap, but on purposely cheap, and it's all in one location, and they do it. It's a cheap horror movie in one location, and they make it work. Working with a budget, they were probably within a certain range. They were within a certain range, and they were totally stayed within that budget. They didn't overdo it because they're the band or whatever. It seemed a cheap movie
allow
a cheap movie budget.
That allows a lot of good opportunity to be camp.
I heard it had some cool cameos too.
Yeah.
To be what?
That's cool.
But
there's a lot of cool cameos. There's just funny. There's a lot of great kills and giant kills, in it, and there are a lot of jump scares and stuff like that. It's fun.
That's cool.
It's weird. Technically, right now, Dave Grohl is part of 2 movies in theaters right now. Him being that movie you're talking about, and the Nirvana song in the Batman.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
So Dave Grohl's technically in 2 movies right now in the theaters.
If you go that way, you could just think what other things are Foo Fighter, what other movies have Yeah,
but currently in theaters right now.
Right.
Yes, he's in Varsity Blues, I guess you could say technically.
Dave Grohl
but
is
like
everywhere.
that's not in the theaters
in
right
the
now.
universe.
But a movie that Dave Grohl is in and a song that he was a part of is in the theaters right now. It is a stretch, Chris,
That's
but
true.
it's worth pointing out.
Hey, Lavelle, how you
That's
doing?
true. Nirvana's everywhere. Dave Grohl's everywhere. They're going to interlink.
It was a good use of that, the last track of Nevermind.
That's cool.
I thought it was.
Jason, should we just talk about Batman now?
No. There's a few other things.
I just wanted to make a connection.
I want to do it in the second half because we are going to go through spoilers with the Batman, and I do want to make sure people have got enough warning, and I want them to check out what we're going to talk about first. So,
anyways,
guys,
people, go
we got
see Studio
big
666.
news.
Yeah,
it's great.
we got big news. Okay.
We got big ass news, guys.
Did you guys see this this week that Disney Plus sound like they're going to be picking up very soon Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and Defenders, Punisher, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. starting March 16th. I will actually get the chance to finally sit down and watch the rest of Daredevil and Jessica Jones.
Season 3 is so good.
And everything else.
Looks like Disney Plus's Hungry Hippo finally got all the marbles.
Yeah. I guess that move of putting Kingpin on the big on the small screen, I should say, for Hawkeye was.
So does this mean it's
where
all still canon?
It's hard to tell. I don't know. I mean, it's just interesting.
Daredevil, probably.
Yeah,
the Daredevil. We know Charlie Cox showed up in the movie, so
that
kind of
and Kingpin
finalized.
And
Kingpin was like Hawkeye. So
it seems like
they just bring all those characters in, and they might not hold up exactly to what the last shows did.
They think they want to ditch Iron Fist or something like that.
Right.
At least.
Right.
Hey,
they're going to
Liam,
rewrite a few things, but it'll still be them.
Liam hasn't had the chance to see Batman. That's one of the reasons I want to keep Batman in the second half of the
Liam,
chat. So
stick around till we talk about it.
And he'll be able to come back and watch it later. But
Liam,
I got to know how Liam's had COVID this week again.
Again.
So how are you doing, dude? I'm hoping it's out of your system now. Keep us posted on that. I think a second time. Yeah, I think he said twice, but. Anyway, with the idea of Daredevil coming in, it's cool. I mean, the fact is the multiverse of madness is going to be crossing everything. We already heard what we believe is Patrick Stewart as Professor Xavier in the trailer for that. So, I think it's fine to watch and drop Daredevil and connect those universes and all the X-Men stuff and everything. Mm-hmm. On the Disney Plus for sure.
Yeah, now that they've established a multi-universe, you can do whatever.
That's it, and they could play whatever as long as they can, play it. I guess
it's a good blanket safety blanket to explain things. It's like, how did that happen? It's like it's the universe, it's this multiverse, man. Like, don't.
Yeah, this was something else that dropped this week as well. Marvel has also decided to extend Elizabeth Olsen's contract for another 7 years. Which is interesting.
I mean, not surprising.
It's not surprising at the same time. It's like they've got big things ahead of the game for
they've got money. They got money.
It's crazy that
before keep doing it.
Before the contract used to just be
the person wants to keep doing it.
Not completely gone. Oh man, well, get better. I understand. That's why you haven't seen Batman. That's fair enough. Well, either way, Liam, make sure you rest it up, get well, and we will be interested in hearing your thoughts on Batman in the future, for sure.
It's crazy that now that they used to write the contracts of movie appearances, like, oh, you get this many movie appearances, and then they'll use them up. Like Samuel Jackson used his up super quick, and now they're doing let's just do years now. Because we got shows, we got movies. If we just do appearances, totally. It might count for an episode or something. So you just got to extend it. Which in the movie, universe time,
and they can make a lot in 7 years. In 7 years, but 7 years they can make a lot of
that's
just an idea of how long space will last.
That's it. Yeah, that's very telling. It's very telling. If they
Age of Ultron was
7
years ago.
Yeah, no, that's it. The next phase of this movie set
It's another 7 years.
Is at least 7 years, exactly. Yeah, so you can start doing some math on that. It's like, okay,
and then you can retire and never have to work again ever.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, or continue to come back as if they decide
they could all retire right now. They could all.
They could.
I know, but it's so much fun. Like, why would you say no? You know what I'm saying? Why would you say no?
Exactly.
Like, I'll take another 7 years.
Another million.
It's easy money. I mean, I guess it's hard work acting in some of these movies, but it's still easy money.
They're not doing all the stunts. They're doing like
for sure.
A lot of stunts. But they're doing a lot of
They have to put a lot of prep time in,
stunts.
stuff like that, and make sure that they nail these characters down. So, and it's kind of interesting to again see where that goes. Not a huge amount of Star Wars news this week, guys, but there is two things. One, Andor has just put up a Twitter website for the series Andor, but again, just like the Kenobi, it is locked, and so we don't know anything about when, what, or where. There's rumor that next week another what is it? Another meeting, another stockholders meeting is going on again, and they may drop something then for Kenobi, but I doubt that very much. I mean, I don't think we're going to see any new trailers for anything this month. I think it'll be April before we see anything, but who knows. And another thing, a little bit of sad news this past week, Star Wars lost its original push to get it to the big screen. Alan Ladd Jr., who was, I guess, he's not really technically producer. He was more of a presenter, I think it's called, but he passed away this week. And
find projects for 20th Century Fox to like invest.
Oh yeah, no, totally. Yeah, I mean this man ended up by getting over 150 nominations for Academy Awards. He won over 50 of them. He's basically was one of the, especially back in the 70s and the 80s. He liked to trust new, fresh artists and put them and give them money. I mean, for George Lucas specifically, he actually funded the money up front to give George Lucas money to write the script of Star Wars to kind of get the first treatment out. So he was very big in that. He was also very fresh.
You're gonna pay me to write a script?
That's it, exactly. Yeah. But then he was also, very up there with getting women to be in charge of production and stuff like that too, from the 70s into the 80s. So he's definitely, he definitely had a huge content of stuff. And some of the big films he did presented along with Star Wars, obviously, it was like Young Frankenstein, Scent of a Woman, Rocky Horror Picture Show, The Omen, Alien, Blade Runner, Thelma and Louise, Braveheart he produced. So, he's done a lot of huge things over his years. So, it's Star Wars literally would not have got made if it wasn't for that man. Just saying, just putting it out there. That was the one person who said, "Here, George, go for it and start this off and start the process." So, bit of a loss there.
Those are the guys you got to impress.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. No, for sure. And yeah, I meant any other Star Wars news this week? Because it's been really quiet Star Wars wise.
Oh, that game Eclipse says it's looking to launch in 7 years.
2027, right?
I think Elizabeth Olsen's contract is up.
Maybe she'll go to Star Wars instead.
She said that so she can play the game after she finishes her Marvel contract.
Oh yeah.
Just sit down and play a nice quiet game.
Yeah. I mean, the reason one of the reasons they said it's so late is because apparently there is a lot of people that have been feuding against, wanting to be, part of that company as being hired. So it's still a very controversial content, but
it's pretty ballsy that they just straight out say this is how long it's going to take. Like usually it's just a pushback without we're indefinitely pushing back a little bit. Sorry guys.
Yeah. I mean, the fact it's still moving forward is interesting of itself, kind of thing.
I think Star Wars probably told them if it doesn't launch in 7 years, it's getting cut.
Yeah, and
7 years though. 7 years.
That's a while.
Yeah. And
there's a lot of stuff that could change in the canon unless when it takes place. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
Oh yeah, they're going to have like some linchpin in their story. In 7 years, going to be a comic that just destroys that, and they're going to be screaming.
Yeah,
they blow up Coruscant or something like that.
Rewrite.
Like, no,
change the planet. It's
just call all the voice actors quick.
Yeah, yeah. And hot off the news from last week of Indiana Jones 5 wrapping, this week is actually the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles 30th anniversary. There are people out there that don't even know this show even existed. But
I only know it exists through you, man. I've never seen it.
Oh, dude, seriously,
you reminded me that it existed because I've long forgot about it since my childhood.
Well, here's the thing. It's like, it wasn't quite my childhood as I was in my 20s at the time, but this is what I've actually got. This is my actual collection of the soundtracks and the DVDs and some of the old VHS tape cassettes. And it was a really kind of cool series because it didn't do the action adventure thing that you'd expect. It really was a historical reference of Indiana Jones from around about the age of 9 years old through to the age of 16. And it took place, basically from, I think it was, 1910, 1909 or something like that to 1920s kind of thing. And it did this really cool unraveling of taking usually 2 or 3 historical characters per episode and putting them in the midst of Indiana Jones coming across a historical character. President Roosevelt, for example, they did one with Lawrence of Arabia, and all that. And they just kind of did all these really cool
Forrest Gumping him into everything.
They Forrest Gumped the character into things.
Brent, is it only in the first episode, or does it continue through the series where it's the old man telling, like Indiana Jones telling the story? Like, does it end the series? I mean, it starts like that, right? That's all that I remember. I mean, I remember that more than most of it.
We're referring to this old man, Indiana Jones. Yes. I think, you know what? It's been a while since I sat and watched.
Is that canon?
Not anymore. What happened was in the DVDs. Correction. In the VHSs, they do have the old guy in there. In the DVDs, they removed him from the element.
Wait a minute. Only one? Was that in the first episode?
No. It was almost every episode. At least of season 1. There was 3 seasons.
That's what I thought.
Season 1 did. Yeah, and season 1 did.
Like, it starts off with him saying, "When I was this."
Yeah, when I was a boy. Exactly.
When I was a boy back in my day.
Yeah, that's
before
I had this accent.
that existed on the TV when it first aired 30 years ago, but
and then they take it out,
existed on the VHS.
It's a very Lucas type thing for them to pop in.
Oh yeah, totally. Yes. Well, they removed it because they wanted the flow of the story in the DVDs because it was the continual seasons. It was just a fun series. They also ended up by getting Mr. Harrison Ford in an episode. Mystery of the Blues, which was kind of cool, and literally I think all that happened was Harrison Ford's just sitting there telling the backstory.
Fugitive Harrison Ford,
telling the backstory to when he was in the 16,
Jack Reacher,
when he was about 16 or so, and he's sitting there just waiting in this old little hobble of a house. And suddenly, at the very end of the episode, the bad guys come in.
I'll sit there and read it on cue cards,
and he punches them, and they get knocked out, and he saves the day, using his horn,
I want to sit in the chair.
Trumpet.
I want to look at those
his
cards.
trumpet.
I want to be
saxophone.
holding a saxophone.
Yeah, but there were pretty solid, strong little stories. They were just about the time. There was some stuff, a lot of stuff in World War One, a lot of events. It took Indiana Jones through the course of the history of World War One, and I'm hoping that with the release of Indiana Jones 5 next year, that Disney still have not released any of the Indiana Jones films yet on Disney Plus. And I think they're holding off for Indy 5. And then I think they're going to drop everything. And I'm hoping they'll also drop this, because this is officially Lucasfilm. Lucas himself, traveled around the world producing this series, and over several years. I think like over 4 or 5 years. And again, it was a great little series. I mean, it's definitely worth the watch, and keep an eye on it because I'm hoping it'll end up on Disney Plus at some point.
That's cool. I like that each cover is like illustrated, like each it's like each of those DVDs, like
all Drizzen covers, right? Brent,
he illustrated all of them.
Actually, you know what?
Awesome.
Are they all his? Let's see. Hang on a second. I'm not too sure. Actually,
he does a lot.
I think they're
of
like
work.
some of them are quick, like where he just does them super quick, and some of them.
Yeah,
are like
they definitely feel like they are. I mean, if you look at them, I mean, this is like 2 or 3 episodes.
That's pretty awesome.
Tape.
He makes like different versions for each poster he does.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah.
I follow him on Twitter. He
same
stuff.
thing. Yeah, his artwork is just incredible.
But it's cool. I miss that stuff. You know, like Harry Potter. The first Harry Potter movie did it, and then the rest of them were just like photoshops.
Well, now I mean, anytime you do have an illustrated poster, they're copying Drizzen. Like anytime you look at one, you're like, oh, that's a little similar.
Well, but there's still a certain form. Like, there's a certain form of his line work that just doesn't get reproduced properly. They're always
that's true.
I've tried to recreate
the fine little crosses and the little
I've done movie posters in my career, and I've tried so hard to like redo it.
Do the Drizzen.
You need a whole lifetime of work to get that.
Oh, for sure. No, totally. Yeah. But that was
a good way of faking it, I guess. You could do some posterizing, do some line work, fake it. Close.
Either way, I mean that basically, as I said, it turned 30 this year. It's kind of crazy. I actually want to rewatch them. The great thing about the DVDs is they actually have documentaries about each of the historical characters on the DVD as well.
So like little history shows.
A little history show, yeah. I mean, again, that's the thing. George Lucas is a history buff. I mean, he takes a lot of stuff from history. So if you question anything about Star Wars and why and how, under his specific supervision, just look at the history books, because the reality is he's read up on something that is related to something connected to Star Wars or any of his films, to be honest. So yeah, there's that. I mean, at this point, I don't have any other news. It really is a quiet news week. My question here becomes, do we want to jump into the Batman and start talking about that? Because there is definitely a lot to cover. And that being the case, we are going to put up our official, hang on a second, where is it at? Our official spoiler alert for the Batman. So we are going to be talking about the Batman, guys.
The Batman.
So, hang on a second. Liam said
Batman.
Thanks, Liam. Get better, Liam, and enjoy the movie when you get the chance to see it. I will look forward to your thoughts on that.
Come back and watch this later.
Light is bro. Get
oh my God! Okay, first spoiler. Bruce Parents.
Actually, technically, they don't even show that in this movie, so technically, it's not even.
It's kind of refreshing,
which is great.
It was refreshing seeing something that didn't feel obligated to take place in the expanded universe.
Yes, correct. Yeah. No,
I mean, as much as we love that, it was nice and kind of.
We've seen it.
It was fun to see
one of the movies to date.
It was fun to see something that just does its own, and
completely.
If anyone's gonna do it, it's gonna be Batman. So
totally.
It's good to have like a new series out there that's gritty and grounded.
He's gonna have his own Bat universe now. There's 3 spin-offs in development.
Yeah. Oh really? God, I hadn't heard that. Oh, really?
So Penguin show.
Oh, that's right.
Arkham show.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay, so
the Penguin and the 3 was the third one. I know the Gordon.
The new Arkham show they just announced.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
But they're not based in the same universe, though, are they?
They're all in the Batman.
They are.
Universe.
Yeah.
He's producing all 3.
Oh, really? No way. Yeah. That's cool. All right. So before we get into
attached to the Penguin show.
Before we get into details, guys, I do want to ask each of you, what were your overall thoughts of the Batman? So, Max, go for it. You're the big big knowledge buff here.
It was definitely an Earth 1 Batman.
Mm-hmm.
But I loved how much he took from mostly Jeff Lowe books, which is ironic considering he was Matt Reeves' screenwriting teacher at when he was in school.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
But it was like a greatest hits of Batman with, I don't know, I loved it. I'll give it like a 8 out of 10, not 8.5.
Really? Okay.
There was some weird stuff. I hated how there was no Batarangs. I didn't love the Riddler's design.
Right. Okay. That's
cool. I hated how the Penguin was like, I'm 6 feet tall. I'm a mob boss, but I'm also the Penguin. Like, I don't know. He was a little too much of a bruiser for me.
I liked when he got tied up and he was waddling like
that was waddle.
That was funny. That was great. I
have a feeling he was like channeling Donald Trump. Really had that energy, you know. Just like
so. Elijah, what was your first thoughts, Elijah?
I mean, I obviously I liked it too. I thought it was great. You know, it did have those comic book ties in for me, especially with like Long Halloween and Hush and some of those other like big connections where you're like, okay, you got, you know, finally a movie that's inspired by some of these storylines. And then also you have like Zodiac and Seven, those movies that kind of like felt in that world. And I think just watching this, like of all the Batman movies, this is the most on-screen Batman time we get. Of all movies, of like clearly seeing Batman and he's just standing there, you know, like whatever. There's a lot. There's more Batman than there is Bruce Wayne in this. Which I really liked too, because he's Batman. He's on the job. Like what we're with him, watching him. Like why do we not have? Why, you know? Let's see more of Batman. So
totally.
I really liked it. It was great.
Yeah, Jason.
Best Batman movie since Lego Batman.
Okay. All right.
I agree with everything you guys are saying too. Like, like the references and like the, you know, source material is very evident. I couldn't help but notice the most like artisanal leather Batman cowl that has been on screen too.
Yeah,
like that looks real. Like that's
I kept looking at the nose piece. I'm like, man, that's like seems like you could, you know,
so
it seems like that could be easily be made.
Yeah, it's more bespoke than any of the other.
And I like how the ears
Batman.
were like really far back on the back of this. You know, they're like the ears were like really far back.
Just you could just see that like the craftsmanship of his suit was really good, and I really loved the first half hour or the first introduction of Batman, the noir kind of voiceover,
the reveal of Batman
how it's
out.
He just like kind of
sets it up with the dudes looking around the corners like you might be out there.
The same
running out of the shadows too, which was awesome. They're like, he could be in the shadows.
Oh yeah, when he steps out, when he's talking to Commissioner Gordon, and he just steps out from the post, and it's like total darkness. And
I like that. Each time he comes in, it's that way.
It was
it's
like
good. The same DP as Rogue One, I think. Did I hear that right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You know, so it's kind of evident of like Darth Vader appearing in the hallway, kind of the way they did it the same way. You know, and that was some of my favorite Batman moments in any Batman film, of like just the beginning of the guy robbing robs the liquor store, those kids like spray painting on like the Capitol building or whatever, and then like just people kind of knowing that shoot, they look up and they have that paranoia, and that he's kind of had this effect. And they were able to like squeeze in this amount that how much Batman has affected everything. It was the reason why I like Dark Knight so much, because you're just thrown into a Batman world right away from the get-go. You know, it's like I love that we've had these like origin stories, but like what we loved so much about like Tim Burton's original Batman is this like he's there, he exists already, and we're introduced to this world where Batman is a part of this world, and the way they did it, and with his narration and the whole noir feel about it, and that was just some of the best on-screen Batman
how's it going?
Moments.
Yeah,
Colby, we're talking spoilers. If you haven't seen Batman, you got to log off because we're going to talk spoilers. But that's
the narration was really great. That added a lot, and it made me reminded me of the Rorschach stuff in Watchmen. But just nice in a Batman movie. It's like
very
this guy would be talking to himself. You would be hearing his thought process. You know.
Yeah.
The most
I think that added a lot at the beginning and the end.
Yeah.
The most brooding emo Batman we've had yet, and it's just I like that his Bruce Wayne is he's just more Batman than Bruce Wayne at this point. Where he's just, as Bruce Wayne, he looks like someone who's been staying up all night.
Yes.
Exhausted.
Yeah.
And
I
think he was a little too mean to Alfred. He never really had that moment where him and Alfred came around full circle. And then I don't know, there's a little too little Alfred for me.
Not enough. Right. Yeah, that there is less Alfred, and I like that this is the first Batman to. I like that this is the first Batman. I've said this when the trailer came out. First Batman to admit that he wears eyeshadow.
Yeah.
And I
see him putting it on multiple times too.
Yeah, I like that. Like they never even addressed it at all. Even with Christian Bale,
I don't think
he
they
takes the
needed
cowl off. And it's not on, you know?
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah. But
it's like also, he wipes it off. No, he doesn't.
I've also wrote down like the Alfreds tend to get tougher as they go.
As it goes on.
You know, each Alfred that comes up,
each Alfred that
each Alfred that comes out. Yeah. Each Alfred that comes out. Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
Each Alfred that comes out can kick that last Alfred's ass.
Yes, that makes sense.
And now he's at the point where he's like, Andy Serkis is the Alfred that trains Bruce Wayne. You know, he's like, he trained him how to fight. He was more of the Wayne's bodyguard than a butler. You know, and I like that. I think that
was always implied in the comics and like other media is that he's a former SAS like serviceman, but
I think post Michael Caine's. Post Michael Caine's, have they really dialed that in? You know, because like you got
both the TV show for Gotham, they did that as well, and
like everything after the Dark Knight trilogy just kind of made pointed out, like they got the Pennyworth show, just talking about him being and because Michael Caine implies he in Burma. Like back in his work in Burma.
No, Chris does bring up a point here, guys. Andy Serkis got more screen time as Claw than he did more.
Which is not saying much. He really didn't get much screen time as either.
That's the thing. That was.
I wish there was way more. I have Claw. I wish we got more Claw than we got.
I have a few little nitpicks. First, I mean, I did enjoy the film. I was very tired when I saw it. So I sat through it, and I need to sit through it again, but really did enjoy it. But that was one of the few nitpicks I have about the film was that that Alfred's, the character of Alfred was not hugely focused in this movie for any purpose or reason. And there was no conclusion to after he was in hospital. I think he was in hospital.
You never see him again.
And we don't see him again, which was a little strange.
Hopefully he wasn't on the first floor, because if so, he's gone.
Oh, yes.
All I was thinking, I was like, is he going to go back for Alfred? He's in the hospital right now. There's probably no power in the hospital. He's probably just still recovering from the blast.
Still recovering.
He did recover enough, but in his defense, he did help. Like whenever he was on, he was really he had a lot to do with the moving of the story. You know, he did help decipher some of the stuff because he's an old agent MI6 whatever. Was what was he? What was he exactly? Was that
SAS?
British,
like that,
Oh yeah, some super secret intelligence,
British special forces.
Yeah.
But
I like this. I like this new waistcoat Alfred. I like to call it. It's post Michael Caine. Jeremy Irons wears a waistcoat now.
Yeah.
He's just
I love Jeremy Irons Alfred. His Alfred was
that was
quick
great
and clever.
Yeah,
his Alfred was cool.
He looked like he could hold his own too.
This Alfred, I just wish we got more of to see him doing more stuff other than just helping Batman beat Batman. I wish we kind of saw him.
I guess
he was a bit too snarky. He got we got some good footage of him in the Zack Snyder cut Justice League.
Yeah,
right.
He had some snark to him, and that's good. It's good stuff.
So, what did you guys think of Robert Pattinson? His Batman specifically. Let's break it into two parts: both his Batman and his Bruce Wayne. Because his Batman, for me, I thought he was awesome. I thought he here's the thing. I was never a fan of him going in. I was never a fan of the trailers. I was not a fan of too much about what this film was going to be. And the moment this film started, I suddenly got into it. I had a feeling I was going to. It was like I I really thought he was a really perfect Batman. I don't think I can think of any real flaws to the way he brought that performance to the table.
It was a perfect Batman, in my opinion. I mean, what only helps his Batman is the Gotham he's surrounded by. That's any Batman's as good as the Gotham they're surrounded by, or they kind of reflect that. And the tone of his Batman really matched this gritty, dirtiest Gotham we've seen on screen so far. Makes Nolan's look like Schumacher's on how clean that is. I mean, literal Gothic architecture
in design and everywhere.
I mean, what is this, a European cities, I think.
Elijah, what's your thoughts on Robert Pattinson's Batman portrayal?
I thought it was great. I mean, when they first announced him, I'm like, that makes sense. I mean, I saw him in the Lighthouse, but I never saw the Twilight Zone, the Twilight movies or whatever. Anyways,
I actually never saw the Twilight films apart from the trailer.
He's redeemed himself long after Twilight,
When they announced him as Batman, I was like,
which there's a reference to that in the movie.
Let Elijah finish, guys.
Yeah, sorry.
When they announced him as Batman, I'm like, that's a good. I thought that was a good choice. So it wasn't surprising. I thought he did a great job, and he was great in the Lighthouse. And just seeing, I mean, did you see the Lighthouse, Brent?
I did not know.
That's a good one.
I didn't.
Okay. I think if you saw that, you would have been more Boston like, accent. Oh yeah, this guy could totally do a Batman thing. So I thought it was great. I mean, we're not to Catwoman yet, but Zoe Kravitz, I thought that was going to be the one that was going to be a little hokey, and like I was surprised on how
we'll definitely get into character. We'll get into her in a minute. Max,
I like Batman. He was a good job. Batman was cool. I like the outfit and everything. And nothing really bothered me about the suit. It all seemed tactical.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, whatever. He can get some of the gadgets later. Like they're obviously going to continue with this. So I like that it was kind of like all contained. Like, everything looked like he can.
It belonged. Max, your thoughts?
So I liked his Batman. There was times I was a little conflicted. His performance was great, but like he starts off the movie being like, "I am the shadows," and then he's always just walking out of shadows instead of like hiding and lurking.
He really is everybody. He's in the police department so many times, right?
He's also knocking on doors to the Iceberg Lounge, and we're like, "Hey, man, you know who I am?" Was that the only entrance? I guess that's
He didn't make that makes sense.
Yeah, he goes through that entrance like 3 times.
Goes to the front door.
That was kind of the
Batman,
point they're trying to make.
Bruce Wayne, and once is half and half.
Yeah,
I think they're trying to explore him using different personas, and I think eventually they're going to use. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of Matches Malone, which is one of Bruce's other personas when he infiltrates gang world.
Okay,
and it's pretty hokey. He just literally says, "Hey guys, I'm Matches Malone," and people believe it.
Okay.
But he runs whole gangs eventually as Matches Malone.
Okay.
And I can kind of see them like going like that. Like there's like an unseen villain. Like they're like, this guy Matches Malone runs the city. And then he walks out of the shadows and it's just Bruce in like a driver's cap. And he's like, yeah, man.
Yeah, he's Malone. It's like cool. They portrayed that in the animated Batman.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Well, that's the one thing. I mean, I feel like this version of Batman is the most animated series for me of the Batman live action stuff. It had a vibe, even though it was live action, a little more grittier and a little more violent. I personally love the animated. I think we all personally love the animated series of Batman.
Because he literally says, "I am vengeance" in the animated series.
Yes.
I wish he said the rest. That would have been great.
Yeah. But there's the idea, the style of how they do their shots, of where they decide to use their music, and everything else like that in the animated series, and where they decide to have silent moments was very similar vibes I felt to the Batman of watching this film. So I like the fact that, he did walk up to the door of the Ice Club and knock on it specifically, because there are times that that Batman needs to be stealthy, and other times he just wants to make a show of it. I am right here on your door. I'm going to knock on your door. You know who I am. I don't need to sneak in.
I love how ride or die Gordon is with him too at this point, because they were going to survive like year one together.
Yes.
So they kind of have this rapport. And I like the moment when he was like, all right, just punch me. And get out of here.
Yeah,
that was
great.
That's such
get out of here.
Oh,
that's some good. That's some good Gordon
his
Batman
arm like
moment.
this, and they have the shot of the guy's like, oh, he's really giving it to him.
Let's talk about Jeffrey Wright.
Eyes looking from the outside.
Yeah, for me, Jeffrey Wright is one of those actors is improving like a fine wine. He is getting better and better every time I see him, and he's been in so much recently. And
I gotta say, I've said this many times.
Yeah,
but if you haven't seen Shaft 2000 by John Singleton's Shaft with Samuel L. Jackson, it's worth watching for Jeffrey Wright's role as Peoples Hernandez.
Okay,
I promise you, it is worth it. If you watch him in the movie, watch it for this guy.
All right.
If anyone hasn't watched Shaft,
also
the original,
in that movie.
Yeah.
Was that?
Oh, really?
Also, Christian Bale's like the worst person ever in that
Oh
movie.
yeah,
Oh, really?
Christian Bale's in this movie too. It's a full circle.
Wait, which Shaft are we talking about? The original,
the recent one.
Oh, wait.
the remake, the more recent one.
Not the recent one. There was a second. There's a sequel to this one recently,
right?
But this one came out in like 2000 or
okay. So the Samuel L. Jackson.
Wasn't it like 08 or something like that? 2008.
I can't remember.
No, the one I'm talking about was like John Singleton's Shaft.
Yes.
Okay.
No. Yes.
No, it's 2000 or something like that.
Okay, that's it. Yeah.
You know the director of Boys in the Hood. He did that, and it's worth watching for Jeffrey Wright's role.
Yeah, that was a great line too.
Pull
your punch. Yeah, I did.
So it had those moments, like the Batman's always hit those marks where there's like that little moment of like him and Gordon, and I thought that was great. And
Jeffrey Wright was actually he really was the comedy relief behind it, without it being too obvious and in your face. But he was the subtle comedy relief this film needed to kind of break those tense moments all the way through.
Yeah, it's weird how how like gritty you could make Batman, and like when you watch this, or like when you watch Dark Knight and you watch like Batman Begins, there's a lot more jokes in that.
Yes,
just comparing those two movies, they feel so different.
Again, the cool thing about this movie in general is that it does make every other Batman film feel like a comic book superhero rather than a gritty vigilante. Even Michael Keaton's Batman felt
actually, I disagree.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I would say this movie actually made him feel more like a superhero to me. The rest of the
really,
they never showed what made Batman Batman. His superpower isn't the suit; it's his. He's the world's greatest detective, right?
Right.
This movie was showing the early process of him becoming that world's greatest detective. So it felt way more like him gaining his powers and almost an origin story in that way.
That's a good point. Right. It's still an origin story,
right?
In that sense.
Okay.
The dark detective.
I mean, everyone has an arc in a movie, even Batman.
Oh, sure.
So he needed some type of arc. Even Gotham City got its arc too.
His arc though was actually very similar to the arc Zack Snyder was trying to do with Batman, where he reevaluates himself to find hope within himself and find hope within the Batman.
Right.
Yeah, and like the reveal of like the Riddler's incel army of them like saying that I'm vengeance. It kind of points out to Batman how thin of a line that he rides of being a vigilante. He could easily go over the edge.
Tip the scales.
Once he tips the scales, he won't be he'd be no different from the Riddler. And so I think that pointing that out to Batman early in his career is kind of like galvanizing, where he like chooses to sit in as far as being a vigilante and being vengeance. Because vengeance could easily look bad too at the same time. And so like he's, by the end of the movie, he's not really telling people he's vengeance at that point, He's in the light.
He kind of fell back on that one.
He's in the light, he's more of a beacon of hope than anything at this point, towards the end of the movie. And that's a great arc. And it's the way they did it was just so seamless. And to see the parallels of him and the bad guy were a really important thing to kind of help his character grow.
Right.
Good shit, man.
Shall we talk about Bruce Wayne then at this point? What we didn't see a lot of Bruce Wayne either. We saw about as much
because he's not Bruce Wayne. He's Batman.
He wasn't even that like good at being Bruce Wayne. Like, not that he was a bad actor.
Because he wasn't trying to be. He didn't even like. invest any energy to his Bruce Wayne persona at all.
Yeah,
and Bruce Wayne had nothing to do.
Very confident.
Bruce Wayne as a character had nothing to do in this storyline. Really, he wasn't like whatever. Like so many other movies revolve around the Wayne and Bruce. What Bruce Wayne is doing, and
they also hinted, I thought very well done, is with Andy Serkis's Alfred was kind of hinting, you kind of need to be there as Bruce Wayne, and the fact he wasn't was very telling of this version of the Bruce Wayne character. Does that mean down the track he's going to develop and we actually get to see a stronger, more I'm not gonna say flamboyant, because more social Bruce Wayne character?
No, he needs to realize that he needs to invest in that persona as well. To help out Batman.
But again, that's cool.
If you didn't pay attention to where the fund went, and the fund didn't go to repairing the wall, just kind of sat there, went into all the people's pockets, and then.
It's again, it really is a year one for Bruce Wayne too, because it really is this thing of it's going to show development of that character as well as the Batman in future sequel films. I'm hoping.
Yeah, and they've managed to integrate the death of his parents very closely to like the theme of the movie too. Right, like it was a very tightly
without
integrated
re-showing it, and without re-showing it,
it was tightly integrated, and it's tightly integrated into the corruption of Gotham. And I thought that had a lot. That was a huge that was a huge move, and that was a nice surprise to see. Of like how they're kind of
parents are deplorable.
And there's still not going to be any closure on who killed him, because like.
Yes,
like, it was like that goes with me to the grave.
Yes, yes,
and then right away, boom. And so you'll never get like that. That's the thing about Batman, though. He'll never get the satisfaction of pure vengeance, to kind of satisfy his like how he is because of his parents died. So like that's just him perpetually being Batman. And then this version of Batman is literally like hitting everyone as if they were the ones to kill his parents. Like he's that brooding. Where you're like, dude, man, take it easy, bro. These are just guys with makeup on, man.
He's had enough.
Yeah, but I like that ferocity you see in him. You even get to see him. What does he inject himself with venom?
It was either venom or
venom.
Like I think it's like a.
But it was like green, right?
It was very
the
green.
body to energy or whatever, whatever that was. Adrenaline.
I thought it was a adrenaline rush to kind of
He had a whole spot in his suit dedicated to it too.
That was pretty cool.
That's a very Bane thing to do, where it's just like you're ready to go to just inject
there's no different from
venom.
being a tube just connected to it permanently,
Yes.
Well, you got whatever.
One step away.
Whatever.
But that's cool. I liked that, and brooding boy.
I do wish we got one scene of him on a gargoyle looking confident instead of terrified.
That was kind of odd seeing him come up to a ledge and be like,
I know. I was really like, in a whole year, in 2 years, you've never stepped on a gargoyle. That's like half of what you do.
Yeah, I mean, we got that a lot in Dark Knight. That's some good.
Shall we talk about Zoe Kravitz? Thank you. As Catwoman, Elijah touched base on her earlier. Her performance was great, and the character I thought was very different take on.
She's very competent of being a Catwoman.
I loved her just Catwoman walk. It was such like a
Selena
Kyle walk.
It was probably the best Catwoman I think now on
since Eartha Kitt.
Since Eartha
Kitt, I mean, she was. I mean, they gave her a lot to do. They gave her a lot to do. More storyline.
She was very integrated into the story as well,
and way more believable than the other Catwomans.
She was definitely year one Catwoman for sure.
Now, her best friend, lover,
Monica?
sister, that character existed in, was it Batman Year One or was it the animated series? I know she appeared before in something that I've seen.
She's been portrayed in a number of ways, I guess. Right.
Catwoman's had a number of literally just friends that
different
die.
relationships.
Yes,
men and women.
Right. Yeah. But it was interesting, that I mean, it was kind of, I guess, obvious that character had to die for her to move forward, kind of thing. But it was still kind of, I thought it was a shocking little moment. I thought it was a great reveal scene when they revealed the death of that character to the Catwoman, and how that developed from there. I also just love the.
I'm sorry. This is my suit Catwoman. They actually styled some of her look, anyways.
Oh yeah, but yeah, guys. Any thoughts on a Catwoman there?
That was merciful.
What worked? What didn't work? Maybe, I don't know.
I didn't love the mask. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't love the. I thought her mask could have been a little reworked. I don't think she needed a cowl, but I thought
that was the, if anything,
like,
that was the one that bugged me. But
okay, it makes sense.
I was like,
I like the subtlety of it. She wasn't never called Catwoman at one point.
Well, she did call herself the Cat. She said the bat and the cat got nice ring to it.
Yeah.
Which is more of a reference to Tom King Batman than her as Catwoman, which is kind of funny.
Right. Yeah, or more of a cat burglar, because I think she's referring to the cat burglar side of it.
We haven't seen a live action like cowl since. I mean, I never watched the Halle Berry one, but
oh god, it was
mask.
I'm going to break off onto the Halle Berry one, because it was probably the most terrible of all superhero films in my life.
That was like the dark age of superhero films, when we have like Daredevil.
It's not about her performance. I think she's a great actress.
Marvel almost went bankrupt, so they were just like, yeah, man, people want these movies. Let's just have as many as possible. We don't care about the quality.
No, it was also, the fact is that it was almost written like a music video. The whole film was like a 2 hour and a half long music video that was terribly.
She also wasn't technically Selena Kyle either.
Bad direction. That's like just a bunch of bad decisions.
Enough about the Catwoman.
But you know what? No, I was gonna say with her like beanie, her balaclava. I thought that worked because she had the silhouette. When she breaks in.
Silhouette,
we're talking about.
Talking about Zoe Kravitz.
Oh,
the mask. And I like how the beanie gives it little points, like the way that it's the little points on the ears.
It's subtle.
No, for sure.
And she'll make a mask. Next time she'll have a mask. I like it. That's just a beanie with eyes cut into it.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that, because the rest of her outfit looked great.
I did think she needed the big ring on her suit, like the big ring zipper.
The big ring. They missed it, but she was wearing a choker at one point where she had like the choker collar.
I couldn't help but think of like Lisa Bonet just being surrounded, her life just surrounded with like Marvel superheroes.
That's
funny. Oh yeah.
Like Jason Momoa as Aquaman. Yeah, her
Lisa
daughter is
Catwoman. Needs to be like a X-Men or something like that now.
She retired.
Storm.
Yeah.
Jason Momoa's kids that must be just like so lucky they go to school like, hey, my dad's Aquaman, my sister's Catwoman, and they just walk away.
It's funny. No, at the end of the day, for me, the still the best Catwoman outfit is Batman Returns Catwoman's outfit.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
It was the best.
I just love the
story
eyes
of how
those are like together. The iconic Selena eyes.
Yes,
Like the cutout is what I look for.
Oh man, and the way she looked at the end too, with her hair sticking out.
Yes, all cut out.
Christopher Walken. That was cool. And she was like, you just shooting like, oh, there goes your lives. Counting each one.
But end of the day, this performance was again exemplary. I thought she did an amazing job.
Everyone was so good. Man. Paul Dano, dude.
Paul Dano, yes. Can we talk about Paul Dano now?
Yep. So let's do. Okay, so Paul Dano, the Riddler.
I thought this was really great.
The Zodiac Riddler.
Yeah. It really did. You're right. Zodiac Killer definitely comes to mind.
I mean, it's a blatant reference to because he had that hood with the glasses in front of it.
Now, Max, I know we were talking. Max, we were talking at one point. This wasn't your favorite Riddler, huh?
I loved his performance. I hated the mask. Everything about it, everything else was perfect. It was brilliant. But the mask for me, I was like, why would you just not? Why does he need that mask? Why can't you put him in like the classic domino mask, a bowler's hat, a suit? Give him some pizzazz. Let him have some fun.
In the mask's defense, I do like the fact that it was a surplus thing that people were able to buy and mimic.
That's what even in his comments or whatever,
until that moment it kind of bugged me that like it was such a generic thing and it was menacing. I'll give it that. But the moment you see other people wearing it, and then like in the chat on the side saying that
in the chat, it's like this is where you can buy it. They sell it at Gotham surplus and stuff like that.
That kind of clicked. It clicked for me, and I accepted it at that point.
Right. Yeah. No, I thought
it's kind of the same thing with Joker, and everybody goes to get the Joker mask, or where they have like one thing that everybody can attach them to. It's like they're in. Whatever.
I love it's like I
love Batman gear. I think that's one of the most iconic things in Batman. Is all the villains have their goons. They have their squads.
I mean, he could.
That's true. And I love the way. I love the way he got his squad. Like,
hey guys, thanks for tuning into the video.
Hey guys,
that made me laugh so hard when he was like, "Don't forget to like and subscribe." Like,
I love his whole like his 4chan army.
Right. Like, Elijah, sorry, what was Elijah you were saying at the time?
Oh no, I'm just I was just agreeing. I mean, he looked great. I mean, I could see a bowler hat being added to what he was wearing.
Yeah,
at least once or twice.
Room for development.
I liked it. Yes, it worked.
Yeah,
that would be fun if we weren't wearing that when using the diner.
Yeah. The one thing I think I like the most about the Riddler was the use of the riddles. I think it's the best use of the riddles that we've ever seen in any live action Batman or even the animated stuff.
Killer did it,
or the TV stuff. I think that this use of how the riddles were used were different, thought-provocative of the situation, and very much the Riddler.
And do you know what I loved about the riddles? Like toward during the movie, you think that he's an antagonist to Batman the whole time. Like, oh, Batman, riddle me this. But then at the end of the movie, you learn that they're just love letters to him. You know?
Yes.
He was trying to help him.
Playing together.
Yeah, they're like,
that Batman,
I got him for you.
Yeah.
Check it out. And they were just all like, he was just fanning about him.
Yeah.
When like the whole movie, you think that he's like an antagonist, but it's like, we're the same. You and me.
Yeah.
I thought you'd understand.
Yeah. No, it was great. And then of course we get that little post-credit, or not post-credit, but that end scene at the end of the film where they're in the prison cell.
That, guys. You
didn't? Yeah.
Well, especially since Matt Reeves said he's not even going to follow up on it.
Yeah.
I didn't need that. I feel like we could have done without that.
Okay.
Yeah. I heard that there was a whole other scene before that Joker, in the jail scene.
Oh yeah.
Where a scene before that they took out that they'll put back in a longer cut of the DVD.
Oh, okay.
But there was more Joker,
or
really? More of that character.
Right.
I felt that was more of
Batman interrogates him.
I feel like that was like the pressure of the obligation to include like a nod to like the Joker. I
don't know. I mean, there was a lot. They set up everything. They had like they kind of had.
They did, but that's all they did to set that up.
Harvey Two-Face in there for a moment. They kind of like got everybody. They kind of set up a lot of characters in that world where they got that set up. They kind of mentioned a lot of people.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's just a Batman movie. They're always going to have, you got the source material like that. You're going to include as much, but I feel like that was a bit forced for me.
Interesting. That's okay. All. Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with Jason there. I felt like we got it. It didn't bother me, but we also didn't need it for this movie because it really was a long enough movie to begin with. So it felt like the additional fan service there, although fun and enjoyable, was not a key part to this particular story that was being told.
So I just don't like a Joker that's too young, and he seems like he's like in his 20s still. It's a very young Joker.
Well, they made a very purposeful choice to not really show his face greatly in detail. So
I did like I did prefer the way Batman Begins introduced the Joker. Just his card. That's cool.
Yeah.
Like that was
just
nice.
so he's there. He's already
Chris
there.
agrees with us. Yeah. Let's talk about.
We're still talking about Joker. 1 second.
Okay.
They did from what you could see of him. It did look The Man Who Laughs, Conrad Void, the old black and white. Like he looked almost just like that. Like we had a condition like you can't stop smiling. So, anyways, that's what I got from that a little bit.
He's creepy. The guy they cast, though. I mean, he could be really creepy.
Yeah.
Barry Keoghan.
Yeah. I'd like to see that.
For sure.
I would love to see him do the Joker.
All right, Colin Farrell.
So let's talk about Colin Farrell as Penguin.
Not sexy, unsexy.
The unsexy Colin Farrell. I thought he was amazing. I thought the makeup was incredible on this.
It's great.
His job. I mean,
he did nail that New York mobster kind of guy. Like,
he did.
That.
No, completely.
His use of word, sweetheart. Or I'm trying to show him the pictures. Oh, you gotta show me that.
But the Goyles, he kept saying like stuff like Goyles.
Oh yeah, the Goyles.
Yeah.
But then it kind of just, this is like Donald Trump. He's just a New York asshole.
Yeah. I thought. I mean, there was nothing flawed about that performance, about the way they shot him, camera wise and stuff like that. The way they portrayed that character, it was a very fresh take at the same time of the Penguin, but felt familiar enough to be,
How did they explain his nickname as the Penguin? Did they explain it at all?
No, they just said people call him that.
They just call him that.
He just looks like a penguin.
The iceberg lounge is kind of a nice little hint to the themes,
Yeah.
Well, this is the first time the iceberg lounge was portrayed in a movie, actually.
Yeah.
It is too, isn't it?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I love that they're all animals.
Yeah, it is too. Yeah.
Even Falcone's a falcon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like they're all just animals.
Yeah. They kept calling him Falcone in the movie, and it brought up like a weird debate. Is it Falcone or Falcone? Because I've been saying Falcone for like 20 years.
I've been saying Falcone.
I've been saying Falcone because that's what they call him in Dark Knight.
Yeah.
I
guess it's. They also said League of Shadows, and they also call him Ra's al Ghul instead of Ra's al Ghul. So they got a lot of things wrong in that movie.
Yeah. Is it? It's a bit really like tomato kind of thing. I mean, John Turturro's performance. Let's talk about his Falcone. I'm going to say Falcone because that's the way I've always seen it. Yeah.
Salvatore Maroni.
Falcone.
It was always Maroni and Falcone.
That's it. Yeah, Maroni and Falcone. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I thought he was great as well. I mean, again, no flaws, nothing. I thought
he's a great actor. I like everything.
He's good at everything.
Anytime he's in it, I would watch him in anything.
It's the best part of Transformers, I'll tell you that.
That's it. I forgot he was in that film. Oh my god. Oh yeah, he was too.
Bumblebee pees on him.
Yeah, that's it. Yes.
Yeah.
It's just a weird moment. It's just a weird moment in No one talks about we never talk about.
Nobody talks about Transformers anymore.
No one ever talks about Bumblebee pissing.
Oh, Bumblebee, okay. But I mean, again, it's like he took secrets to the grave. Falcone tends to be the one character, the mob boss that will eventually get killed off in a film or a TV series.
Wait, he's Maroni.
Huh? Maroni?
Isn't he's Maroni? The Falcone's a different person, right?
Falcone and Maroni.
He's Falcone, but then there's a Salvatore Maroni.
Maroni's still in jail right now for the drug bust. So they didn't cast him.
Yeah, so he's Falcone, and that's right. Okay, got it.
But I mentioned Dupacino because Maroni's supposed to be like the old guard,
right?
Yeah,
of like mob.
Well, Maroni was what's his name in Dark Knight?
I can't remember the actor.
Roberts.
Eric Roberts.
Eric Roberts.
Yeah.
Right.
You met this guy?
Yeah.
Pick a better height.
Yeah. Pick a better height than this height the phone will kill.
It's a good Maroni.
Yeah.
Where's the Italian?
Yeah.
And Falcone was that British actor, right? In Batman Begins. Who's that British guy?
Right.
Falcone.
Yeah.
Yeah. They can't remember.
I did love the twist that they used from Long Halloween, where they reveal that Selena Kyle is Falcone's daughter.
That was
cool. That was cool.
Everyone was so integrated. It's great. Yeah. It's crazy.
I feel like, but that's how you do a comic book reference. Is like you use it as a twist.
Yeah.
The same way they did it in their story.
And Falcone had a rapport with the Waynes, big time. What was that a reference to, Max?
That was another reference to Long Halloween, where it was revealed that. He was shot, went to Thomas Wayne. Thomas Wayne helped him.
That's some cool stuff. I love that he's has a history with the Waynes. This Falcone is pretty top notch.
Yeah. Elijah, sorry.
I'm surprised they didn't introduce any of the Court of Owls just storyline.
I don't think there was room for that, to be honest.
It's a little early.
I think
well,
I feel
actually,
it's interview.
Look at Bruce's
they
gauntlet.
could have mentioned. They could have mentioned or set up like.
It was
they could have
such
set
a
that up
dense,
at least as like a faction or something.
It was so dense.
I think
I'd love to see it, but I don't know.
Sorry,
but
Max, what were you saying there?
You think
they have
Max?
If you look at Talon's gauntlets on his arm picture, he has the same thing Bruce Wayne has on his arm, like
just like those.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Oh, that's
right.
Yeah. He did.
Oh, yeah.
His gauntlets did have those things on it,
which was very specific.
Yeah.
So that is a subtle nod.
Interesting.
Could he have been trained by the Court of Owls?
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah,
without even knowing.
Maybe they're saving it. I don't know, but good. That would be a time. That would be a arc I would love to see in this Batman universe. And I think if you're going to do it, this would probably be the Batman universe to do it in.
Yes,
I would love to see.
It seemed like just with everything going on, it seemed like that would fit. The Court of Owls would fit in this Gotham. You know
and how integrated things tend to be in this universe.
That
exactly. Seems like the next step. You know,
more connected.
I don't know. I kind of want to see them go a different direction with like weirder characters like Man-Bat, Killer Croc, and Psycho Pirate.
See, I don't think this is like the Nolan verse, man. I don't think they're going to go supernatural. If anything, they could probably do a Dr. Freeze.
Yeah,
Mr. Freeze.
I would love to see a Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze is technologically, in a situation like that, but it feels like the Killer Croc character and anything.
You could do a grounded Mr. Freeze episode.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be fun to see them do it and how they would do that. I mean, Killer Croc could be just a skin infection if you wanted to go that direction. There are definitely. I
just don't see him as compelling of a villain, though.
Possibly.
What about you guys know who Psycho Pirate is?
Like a Solomon Grundy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be very interested.
Yeah.
I saw him Grundy. He wouldn't be a main villain anyway. I think like someone like Psycho Pirate who's like.
Well, see, like I don't think Killer Croc would just be a side piece anyway.
Side monster. Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't see him. I don't know.
I
would love to hear a reference to hitting him with a rock.
Yeah.
But I think they could do something great with like something like Man-Bat, where he's like just chasing him through the city. Right. And it's like the parallel to him, where it's like.
What would be the limits to this Batman? Where would we draw the line? On what the caliber of his Rogue Squadron.
I would draw the line after whatever his last villain is, and there's a long list of them. So probably somewhere between Psycho Pirate and Poison Ivy is where I draw the line in this universe.
Yeah,
where it's like unseen.
Explain to us, Psycho Pirate.
He can control emotions.
Wow.
So it's. I think it's one of.
So he's kind of like the Mad Hatter, kind of, in a sense, or Scarecrow, kind of
a little bit, a
nootropic villain.
like one example is like, so he could like say there was like a restaurant full of people and like he wanted to rob the place, right? He would make them all calm and all happy, and he'd walk in and he'd say, "Hello, I'd like all your money," and the clerk would say, "Yes, of course, sir," and happily give him the money, and he'd walk out.
Right.
Because he made them all happy and willing to do so.
Yeah.
So I feel like that would be like, it's very unseen power. So it's like
it would be kind of cool to see them explain that, or to kind of make like a supernatural more grounded version.
Well, that's the thing. That's the question though. Where does supernatural become a cross into this universe where it could be chemical, but is it science? Could it be science and chemical based?
So they could science-ify any of that.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's so much more to pick from, like like Scarecrow or Mad Hatter.
Yeah.
To do
I don't think they should
like
do Scarecrow.
That,
I think Scarecrow has always been a little bit of a half-rate villain. Like I can only think of like 3 or 4 stories where Scarecrow does anything cool, and like I feel like they're obviously trying to do like No Man's Land. And then, like, I think in No Man's Land, you kind of get like the best version of Scarecrow, where he's just manipulating people's minds. Right. And then at the end of the day, all it takes is someone just to punch him in the face, and he's like, "Oh, that hurt."
Yeah,
like Mysterio, kind of.
Yeah, literally. Like, He's such an analog to Mysterio in that way. Like once you hit
Oh,
him, he's like, okay, guys, I give up completely. That hurt a lot.
That's exactly how they handled him in Batman Begins.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like his face tasered. She runs off.
So
that's such a quintessential Scarecrow. Just once he gets hit, he's like, "Oh, okay,
they utilized him great.
They
utilized him great in the Dark Knight trilogy, though. I love his he's only recurring villain in the whole.
Yeah. He's his only recurring villain.
Yeah,
I like that.
So getting back to we've got one last character that I wanted to touch base on. Jamie Lawson's character Bella Real. What did you guys think of her character? She wasn't, she was set up to become.
She
was
kind of there, kind of not there.
Yeah, that was.
She's just like. Yeah, she's just the
unnecessary character, mayor running.
I had no opinions. No opinions on her. Really?
Right. Well, she was brought in at the end. Obviously, she seemed like she was running in a position of leadership towards the end.
Because she's the mayor elect.
Correct. Exactly.
Comes with that job.
Right. Exactly. But it was just like it just felt like she got lost in the middle of that whole process a little bit. But again,
she embodied that the spirit of Gotham that Batman literally had to protect.
She
personifying that in a person, like the mayor elect, kind of made things clear for that the whole situation.
Yeah.
So I think that's what her purpose was in the film.
Right. Yeah. I mean, she seemed like she was obviously
about Gotham having a squeaky clean mayor this early. I feel like the mayor.
Yeah.
Like Batman's supposed to be cleaning up the city, so I feel like the mayor should kind of still be a part of that underground gangster world right now.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe there's a development down the story we haven't seen yet too. We don't know.
Gotham tends to just kill them if they're not cooperating.
Yeah, either kill them or have something deeper, because if someone's too good to be true, sometimes they are too good to be true.
You needed Gotham needed a win in this after having it being flooded and all that. At least, they come out with a hero and a new mayor.
Let's talk about one of the other characters in this film, the Bat car. What did you guys think about this?
I think it should have been in way more of the movie. I don't get why he didn't drive it on the street, considering it looked like a streetcar. And honestly, if that drove down the street in Los Angeles, most people wouldn't even turn their heads. It would kind of just look like a normal car that someone souped up.
But
a motorcycle is more tactical, and I think it made sense that he got around mostly by motorcycle. And
he had to get out of costume to get into the motorcycle.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess they could only hold it. At least they gave it an awesome set piece.
The thing I like about both the cycle and the car was that they really did feel very almost real. There was no hyped up flares or fins or anything like that. They felt it really was a personally converted vehicle. He didn't buy anything big and expensive.
This is what Darren Aronofsky had pitched in for the Batman Begins, his version of Batman Begins was going to be a hot rod souped up.
Oh really?
Okay. Yeah, and
that was what the Batmobile originally was.
What's that comic where it takes place? It's like a Batman far in the future. And
Batman Beyond?
No, it was in between that. It was a comic that came out in 2006 or something like that, I think. But there was a Batman comic where he's it's far from Bruce Wayne, but another generation of Batman, where he fixes up he's just a garage Batman.
By the way,
he just fixes up a muscle car. I feel like Aronofsky kind of had that to reference also. But
speaking of this car, by the way, did you guys? I assume you didn't see this in the Dolby Theater, right?
No,
I didn't get my.
God. Oh, I saw it in the Dolby. I swear to God, I got the best back massage from every time that vehicle revved up.
If you guys are just
it was going up and down the chair. It was so.
Brent gets kickbacks from Dolby. They pay Brent, so he has to mention it. He's contractually obligated to mention Dolby every time a movie comes out.
But seriously, you've
can
got to
go
see.
Can we go one movie where you just don't talk about a Dolby?
When that car revs up, when that car revs up, I swear to God, it was so freaking cool.
I watched it. I watched it in the 3-screen one.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, how's that?
Oh, I've seen
the extra.
I've seen a number of movies in the. Yeah, I thought it's cool. They have like more ambient like lights happening all around. I thought it was pretty cool.
Oh, really? No,
it keeps you active.
The sound
for 3 hours,
of it.
I guess.
I'm gonna speak for a moment on the sound, guys, because the sound editing and the sound recording, everything was phenomenal in this movie. The editing was phenomenal. The cinematography was phenomenal. I thought all of the technical aspects in this film right up there for Academy Award stuff, because it was such amazing quality of all that.
Some of the best fight choreography that I've seen since like the Batman warehouse fight.
Right. How was it in
I
Prime,
still wish
Chris?
they had a scene like that where Batman showed off his tactility, because he wasn't really that tactical in this movie. He didn't really go in with a plan. He just kind of jumped in and was ready to fight.
Kind of punching. People. But the fight sequences, the cinematography of those fight sequences, the way he would just come in and just
better than the Dark Knight's fight sequences.
Oh, the Dark Knight had bad Batman karate. That made no
fight sequences.
Yeah, this didn't feel restricted in the way he moved either. He felt
Nolan's Batman was just like doing his karate.
What the hell is that?
The
hell is that?
You gotta get one of those.
These were full on.
But this is like some good choreography. Like next to the Batman warehouse scene, like some good Batman fight.
This movie felt like Wildcat trained him. Like he was just a straight up brawler who just wanted to box.
Well, it was Alfred.
It was Alfred that trained him.
His bare knuckle boxing technique.
They should reveal that Alfred was the Golden Age superhero, or the Copper Age superhero, Wildcat. He puts on the mask.
Yeah.
And he should pull it off. He looks like he'd be a good Wildcat.
Well, he's Andy Serkis, man. He could do it.
Yeah,
he could have be a tank. I'd watch it.
Yeah.
So the Batcave. We didn't see a lot of the Batcave in this film.
I actually don't think this was the Batcave. It was a Batcave.
Yeah, that's right.
It was the Batcave.
Yeah, I feel like that's his city location.
But this is in the city underneath Wayne Tower. I assume is where this one.
Yeah, I don't think it's.
But I like that. I like that he's like taking like subway tunnels. Like there's like a Wayne.
This could have been like they have in New York. They have some of those hotels have like private like entryways to a subway tunnel, like for escape or whatever.
Yeah. So I'm sure that's flooded now.
They would be. Yeah, again, that's also going to.
I think it probably wasn't finished from the Thomas Wayne Restoration Act, the restoration thing. I think it probably went unfinished after those funds got redirected.
Yeah,
that's kind of how he was able to be Batman too.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
there's definitely a lot of side elements that one thing affects another that is thought out in this film for sure.
It's like The Wire. You managed to fit all that integration into a movie. 3-hour movie, granted, but
yes. So the look of Gotham City itself,
the best.
And
the best Gotham by far.
Yeah, it really was a great Gotham.
They used like a European cities, right? Like a lot of London, like
Edinburgh too, I think.
The street, yeah. Do you have any shots of just the street of him driving around on the street with the bike?
Don't.
It's raining all the time.
Yeah, the fact it's raining so much was great too.
It sucks to be there.
Yes,
it just looks like a terrible place to live.
Yeah.
Which is like always been Gotham.
Yeah,
right. But we've never seen
it the same with Blade Runner's LA.
Yeah. No, it definitely was. But then they also had some beautiful frames. Like there was very cinematic frames in this series that were just beautiful and gorgeous of use of silhouette.
The silhouette of him with the upside down shot of him walking away from the car.
Yes,
sequence,
like hanging upside down like a bat, basically, when he's like coming from that.
When he's looking in,
There was so many.
There was like a Winter Soldier moment, right? Because Bucky had a scene like that too.
You had a lot of Mandalorian moments too of just walking in like slowly.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Very fit the noir theme.
It makes me want to wear a cape like all the time. I wish capes could come back in the fashion to wear like capes. You could just buy a cape, like everybody walks around with capes.
Oh, that's the thing about fashion. You could pull it off if you're confident.
Yeah. People saying that's their biggest complaint. That's funny. I thought it was beautifully Gotham.
I heard the opposite. I heard that's what everyone's praising is how gritty and gross it looks there.
Yeah, no.
Like I said earlier,
I wouldn't want to live in Gotham
too. Is how gothic like the windows look.
Oh yeah.
Like his
production design was great. Yeah.
Wayne Manor was a bit too gothic for me though. His parents' bedroom.
Yeah, that was like
his parents' bedroom was like creepy gothic, and it was like
sleeping in a church. Like this.
Yeah.
No, So when it comes to his parents' house, way too Gotham. Like, man, that's weird. His parents' room was weird.
Yeah.
I like the Wayne Manor in the last Justice League movie in Zack Snyder's Justice League, where it was burned down, but you can see it looks like a very dated mansion. Like it wasn't updated in years, which I thought really fit the Bruce Wayne aesthetic.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah. And then what else do we have? Let's then talk about this soundtrack, because I actually purchased it the other day and listened to it. In the movie itself, Michael Giacchini, I can never pronounce his last name.
He did all the Star Trek, JJ Star
Trek.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He did Lost. He did he's done so much stuff over the years. It works so well for the movie, and as a score to listen to by itself, the theme is so repetitive that it gets actually a little bit too obnoxious to listen to as a separate soundtrack. It's a great soundtrack.
4 notes over and over.
It's crazy how it's so Batman too. Like,
but for an hour and 29 minutes of the soundtrack, listening to the score by itself as a soundtrack, I found it a little tedious to listen to for such a long period of time.
That's how most people feel with most soundtracks, Brent.
Oh, okay. Nuts. But in the film itself,
you guys don't know, that's all Brent listens to is movie soundtrack.
I'm a movie soundtrack person.
Yeah.
Yes. But it as a moment in the moments in the film, yes, it was fantastic. It really definitely.
Oh man, it was stuck in my head all day.
Of course, because there's only 4 notes.
Singing it, it was like
I love it though. I saw it last night.
It's like they played that Nirvana song. It's on the same note as something in the way, and then it kind of just worked off of that.
Yeah,
just like how the Drive soundtrack worked off of that one Chromatics song.
Friend Chris says the soundtrack sounded unfinished. It needed 1/5 note.
Because he's still year 2, he's still
exactly yes.
He just had that one guitar strum in it.
You got to earn that one note later in his arc.
So I mean, we're basically covered, as most of the.
There's enough Batman soundtracks out there that it could qualify as a genre of music.
Yeah, and I've got most of them. I've got most of them too.
Batman genre soundtrack.
Yeah, go to Amoeba and look through like the Batman soundtracks. It's like a big aisle of like Batman.
Yeah, it's its own genre at this point.
I've got the animated series. I've got the Tim Burton versions. I do not have Batman and Robin because it just didn't work for me. I've got Batman Begins. Batman
and Robin works as an homage to.
But the music doesn't. The music got worse. I think by Batman and Robin.
Homage to Adam West's 60s Batman. It's perfect.
No, okay, fair enough. Soundtrack wise, either way.
In that lens, it works perfectly.
Yeah, I've actually got the soundtrack of Batman versus Superman actually too. So
that was a great soundtrack. I love his Batman theme there.
Yeah, that was cool.
Do you have the Batman Beyond soundtrack?
I don't know if they've
future music.
I say this in reference. I don't think they released it on La La Land Records. I could be wrong, but I do have the Batman animated series soundtracks.
That one just pretty much they used the
Shirley
Tim Burton
Walker
theme for like the beginning.
Oh no, the Tim Burton.
Then they also have the.
That's all Shirley Walker. Yeah, correct. Yeah.
But it's like they were referencing, the Tim Burton theme.
Oh, completely.
Absolutely. That was like the reference point. It was like, well, make this.
Well, Well,
but
Danny
our
Elfman
own
did
version
compose. Yeah, Danny Elfman composed the key title credit music for the Batman animated series, and then Shirley Walker took over and did the whole series run itself. Which was individual soundtracks for every episode. It was they literally, Bruce Timm would not allow them to do pre-recorded music. He wanted live orchestra music, and he forced.
But that's why it's so good.
That's why it's so good. Exactly. Every score
Batman
is
animated series was like a huge feat.
Yep.
Before, no one would this movie. Actually, I mean that series got more attention than most cartoons would get around that time. And especially because Batman was like such a huge property. They had a lot of eggs resting on this thing that they'd like, dude, we got to do this right. Like, let's do everything from like the design of the backgrounds to like the score. Everything is like well thought out, and it shows.
Well, that it left way for shows like Tiny Toons and Animaniacs to have their own complete. Basically, they went back to the days of Bugs Bunny. They went back to the days of Bugs Bunny of the 40s and the 50s, where they actually composed each individual score and didn't have a reoccurring track.
Yeah, and that's what makes them timeless.
Correct. Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Like you go back, it's an Emmy award-winning cartoon.
Yep.
It's a solid first season, man. Oh man, each arc in the first season is just so solid.
Yep.
So guys, the New Adventures would have been. I actually like the New Adventures almost more sometimes because they brought in more of the Bat family.
Yeah,
that's cool. I feel like
the designs were a little weird.
Like just like how Batman soundtracks have become a genre. Batman itself has become a genre in film and movies. Like
for sure,
it's been redone so many times that it's a take on the hero's journey, but it's like it's a version of the hero's journey that is specific to Batman.
And so this is one of many Batman journey.
We can add this in the pantheon of that genre of Batman movies.
But it
only
also
helps build the character, and we learn more about him each go.
Yeah. Well, let's make this our closing thoughts, guys. Closing thoughts on the Batman movie. What did you, end of the day, it worked in comparison to other Batman films. Where does it stand for you?
I mean, I still got to marinate on it. Is it still fresh? And I'm still hyped about it. It's one of my favorites right now. It's a good depiction of him, especially that beginning part. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of The Darkest Night, guys.
Elijah?
I thought it was great. It's good. Obviously, a new setup to a new franchise or a new set of movies, and two or three series, however many series, like TV series that come off it. But I like the world. Any connection to other stuff, seems like it's gonna be good. So I'm excited.
Yeah, Max.
I liked it way more than the Nolan movies. It really felt more like the true Batman to me. Nothing for me will ever be Ben Affleck right now. For me, that was just like the most fully realized Batman that knew what he was doing. I'm still kind of waiting for that movie. So hopefully we get that from Robert Pattinson in the future.
I mean, I agree. I definitely want to see more of this version of the Batman in the future. I personally like it better, obviously, than the Zack Snyder story of storytelling in the Batman story arc. I'm not saying anything bad about Ben Affleck itself, but in general, I feel like I want to see this version of the Batman integrated into the rest of the DC universe, or maybe not. That's the weird thing. I almost feel like this shouldn't be integrated. Actually,
I can go either or. I like him more than Keaton. I will say I don't think I think having Keaton be the mainstay of the Batman of the DC universe is probably a bad idea, considering it's just an aged out Batman. He's aged out like probably 10 years ago.
Nice.
He's only there for the intertextuality of it. That's it.
Yeah.
And more than that, no.
I think he's going to be Nick Fury for them. I think he's going to be like the guy who's supposed to be like their Nick Fury, which I don't think makes sense for Batman.
Reaching for that nostalgicness from us, which has worked very, very well in these past movies.
Well, again,
I think that bubble's going to burst. I think eventually people are going to get tired of it, and they're like, I don't need to see Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman now.
I'd love to see Michelle Pfeiffer as
opening the
floodgates. While we're talking about this real quick, what do you guys think of that opening new DC trailer that they did at the beginning?
Oh,
Did you guys see that? Like DC 2020 or whatever, like this is what's coming. Did you guys see that little sizzle reel or whatever?
I didn't see
You
that
did?
in my
Oh,
Yeah,
theater.
they did like a little DC movie, like everything that's coming. Like they did, they did like a quick edit of like everything coming. It just seemed it's an interesting.
It might have been. Was it?
intro
Did you
to
guys?
the movie.
Did you see it in AMC or did you see it elsewhere, Jason?
I saw it at the what is that downtown Regal?
Okay, so it might be just an AMC thing. I don't know.
I can't recall
I thought it
anything
was
that
cool.
we did that was new
Yeah.
in that, like that was
No,
not
it was
that we haven't seen before already. But it was just a new. It was a new.
It was a
thing,
few
a new
shots from
ad
the
or
upcoming
whatever.
films. It was every upcoming
Hawk,
DC
there was
film
the
related.
there was like a
Little-
Hawkman thing in there
Yeah,
briefly and some
yeah.
Green Lantern stuff like I didn't
Yeah.
recognize. So
Yeah, there was
that's
some
cool.
definitely DC related stuff that was being shot for later this year. It was like an advertisement for the upcoming Flash movie and this and that, which was kind of a cool little thing. And but it felt very Marvel-esque in the way of
right.
a presentation.
Of trying
that was a cool
trying
piece.
to link their Marvel.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, thank you. This is a fun little chat about the Batman, and we actually won't be back live next week. I've got to work, and Elijah is going to be working with me on something outside. So the project goes into Sunday of next week. So we're going to be missing next week, but we'll be back the following week. So everyone out there, please like and subscribe. And guys, thank you very much. Chat who joined us today, thank you so much. It was a lot of fun to bounce around stuff with you guys, and we shall see you in about 2 weeks' time. Thanks, guys.
Bye.